All right, today we're going to shrink down to the microscopic level and explore something absolutely incredible. We're talking about the most fundamental unit of you, me, and every single living thing on this planet, the cell. It's like this hidden factory that makes all life possible. So come on, let's take a tour of this amazing factory of life. So, where does our story even begin? Well, it doesn't start in some fancy high-tech lab. It starts with a really simple but profound question. What if there's more to the world than what we can see with our own eyes? You know, this one bit of curiosity was about to unlock a whole invisible universe hiding right under our noses. It all kicked off way back in 1590. A guy named Zacharias Janssen invents the first microscope, and just like that, he opens a portal to another dimension. Then, fast forward to 1665, and Robert Hooke is looking at a super thin slice of cork. He sees all these tiny, empty little chambers, and he calls them cells. Now, he was really just seeing the empty walls of dead plant cells, but hey, the name stuck. But the real game changer? That was Anton van Leeuwenhoek. He built a much better microscope and became the first person in history to see living, swimming, single-celled organisms. Can you imagine? For the very first time, we realized life was just teeming in places we never, ever thought possible. Now, these discoveries were absolutely mind-blowing, but they weren't just random, cool observations. Nope, they were actually the puzzle pieces that would eventually come together to form one of the most important ideas in all of science. So, what is a cell, really? Well, to put it simply, it's the smallest possible piece of life. It's this tiny, self-contained package of living stuff, the absolute basic building block. You can have an entire organism made of just one of these, or you can have organisms like us, made up of literally trillions of them. So by 1839, all these ideas were formalized into what we call the cell theory. And its rules are so simple, but they completely changed our world. First off, every living thing, from a giant whale to the tiniest piece of algae, is made of cells. Second, the cell is the most basic unit of that life. It's the fundamental Lego brick, if you will. And third, and this might be the most important part, new cells don't just magically appear out of thin air. They have to come from cells that already exist. This simple idea laid the foundation for, well, all of modern biology. Okay, so let's stop thinking of a cell as just some simple little blob. It's time to see it for what it truly is, a bustling, high-tech, microscopic factory. And right now we're going on a tour of all the specialized departments, the organelles, that are all working together to keep you alive. Our first stop on the tour is the head office, the control room, the nucleus. This was discovered by Robert Brown, and it's basically the brain of the entire operation. It sends out all the orders and manages every single thing happening inside this little factory. So how does it do all that? Well, inside the nucleus are the factory's blueprints. We call them chromosomes. And these are just tightly coiled up threads of DNA that contain genes. The genes are the instruction manual for everything the cell needs to do. And get this, they're the very things that carry information from parents to their kids. It's the ultimate command center holding the master plan for the whole organism. Okay, but all those commands from the nucleus need a ton of energy to get done. So how does this factory keep the lights on? For that, we've got to visit the factory's power plant, the mighty mitochondria. You've probably heard it called the powerhouse of the cell, and trust me, it has earned that nickname. This is where the magic of cellular respiration happens. The mitochondria take in nutrients from the food you eat and convert them into a special energy molecule called ATP. Think of ATP as the universal fuel for your body. It powers everything, from your muscles moving to your brain thinking. Seriously, without the mitochondria, the entire factory and, well, you would just grind to a halt. Now that the power is on, let's head over to the factory floor where the actual products get made. It's time to meet the workers, the ribosomes. These tiny little things are basically protein building machines. Yep, their one and only job is to follow instructions sent from the nucleus and build proteins. And these proteins are essential. They're the things that digest your food, fight off infections, and literally make up your muscles. Oh, and get this, these tiny, crucial workers are actually built inside a special department of the nucleus called the nucleolus. It's a factory that builds its own factory workers. How cool is that? So once our ribosomes make all these proteins, they can't just be left lying around on the factory floor. They get sent over to the Golgi apparatus. You can think of this as the cell's post office and packaging center. It modifies, sorts, and packages everything up for delivery to other parts of the cell or even for shipping outside the cell. And now for a department with let's say, a slightly more dramatic role and a really cool nickname. Let's meet the lysosome. It's the cell's waste disposal and recycling unit, but it's also known as the suicide bag. Okay, so these little sacs are filled with some seriously powerful digestive enzymes. Their main job is to act as the cleanup crew, breaking down all the junk, like old, worn-out parts, and destroying any invaders like bacteria. But here's where that nickname comes from. If a cell gets too damaged or too old to do its job right, the lysosome can actually burst open and release all its enzymes, digesting the entire cell from the inside out. It sounds dramatic, but it's a really important form of quality control. So now that we've had a tour of the basic factory, you should know that not all factories are built exactly the same. Life actually uses a few different blueprints. The two main designs are prokaryotic and eukaryotic. Prokaryotic cells, like bacteria, are super simple. Think of them like a basic one-room workshop with no separate offices. Their DNA just kind of floats around inside. Eukaryotic cells, on the other hand, make up things like plants, animals, and us. They're the complex, organized factories we've been touring with a proper nucleus and all those specialized departments. And even within that complex eukaryotic model, there are some pretty key differences. Just take a look at a plant cell versus an animal cell. You'll see right away that plants have a tough, rigid outer cell wall that gives them their structure. Animal cells don't have that, which makes them more flexible. Plants also have chloroplasts. Those are their own personal little solar panels to do photosynthesis. And check out that huge central vacuole for storing water in the plant cell. It's so big, it actually pushes the nucleus off to the side, while in an animal cell, the nucleus is usually right in the center. So we've seen the control room, the power plant, the assembly line, and even the cleanup crew. But you know what? The real miracle isn't any one of these single parts. It's how they all manage to work together. And that really brings us to the biggest takeaway of the whole thing, which is summed up perfectly right here. A cell is not just a bag of parts. It's a perfectly integrated system, a factory where every single little organelle has its job and works in perfect coordination with everyone else. It's this beautiful dance of life. And this intricate coordination, which is happening trillions of times over inside your body right this very second, is what allows a single cell to become a tissue, and tissues to become organs, and organs to become a complete living, breathing person. It all starts right here. It really is a whole universe inside each and every one of us. So the next time you think about the big picture of life, I want you to also think smaller, about the incredible hidden factory that's running in perfect harmony inside you. Because really, without this perfectly coordinated microscopic universe, what would life even be? Thanks for joining me on the tour.